how credible does that make the Security Council?
Hello everyone, welcome to Topic of the Day. In today's video, we shall be discussing about the UN Security Council reforms and can India get a permanent seat in the UN Security Council. So recently, during the 77th session of the UN General Assembly, USA, Russia and France expressed their support for India becoming a permanent member of the Security Council. In addition to this, there's a growing chorus among G4 countries that include Germany, Japan, Brazil and India to become permanent members of the UNSC and for representation of African countries. So let us discuss about the United Nations Security Council. As we know, UNSC is one of the 6 principal organs of the United Nations. It was formed on 24th October 1945 and it held its first session on 17th January 1946. If we talk about the roles of UNSC, it is responsible for ensuring international peace and security, recommending the admission of new UN members to the General Assembly, and for approving any changes to the UN Charter. Its powers include establishing peacekeeping operations, enacting international sanctions, and authorizing military action. Now, the UNSC is the only UN body with the authority to issue binding resolutions on member states. If we talk about the membership of UNSC, the Security Council consists of 15 members, of which 5 are permanent: China, France, Russia, the United Kingdom, and the United States. The other 10 members are elected on a regional basis for a term of 2 years. The body's presidency rotates monthly among its members. Now, the permanent members can veto, that means block, any substantive UNSC resolution, including those on the admission of new member states to the United Nations. Now let us talk about the reform of UNSC and the key issues related to it. Reform of the United Nations Security Council encompasses 5 key issues. First, what will be the size of an enlarged council and its working methods? Second, what will be the regional representation? Third, the categories of membership. Fourth, question of the veto held by the 5 permanent members. And fifth, what will be the relationship between Security Council and General Assembly? Now let us discuss about the Kofi Annan plan. In 2005, the then UN Secretary General Kofi Annan proposed a plan to expand UNSC membership to 24 members. So therefore, he gave 2 alternatives for the implementation. Plan A, that calls for creating 6 new permanent members plus 3 new non-permanent members for a total of 24 seats in the council. Another one was Plan B, that calls for creating 8 new seats in a new class of members who would serve for 4 years subject to renewal, plus 1 non-permanent seat, also for a total of 24. Now let us discuss on the obstacles in implementing UNSC reforms. First, any reform of the Security Council would require the agreement of at least 2/3 of UN member states in a vote in General Assembly and must be ratified by 2/3 of member states. Now, this is difficult to achieve. Now, secondly, all of the permanent members of the UNSC must also agree. In case of India, there is no explicit support by China. Third one, the member states and regional groups have developed different positions and proposals on how to reform UNSC. Thus, there is no consensus on how to reform. Now, let us discuss in brief about the G4 nations. The G4 nations comprising Brazil, Germany, India and Japan are 4 countries which support each other's bids for permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council. The economic and political influence has grown significantly in the last decades. Also, each of these 4 countries have figured among the elected non-permanent members of the Council since the UN's establishment. Now let us discuss on the Uniting for Consensus movement and what it is all about. Under the leadership of Italy, countries that strongly oppose the G4 countries' bids have formed the Uniting for Consensus movement, which is also known as the Kofi Club. This is composed mainly of regional powers that oppose the rise of some nearby countries to permanent member status. For example, in Latin America, Argentina opposes a seat for Brazil, and similarly in Asia, Pakistan opposes India's bid. Now let us take up one practice question on this topic. Consider the following statements regarding reforms of the United Nations Security Council. First, any reform of the Security Council would require the agreement of at least two-thirds of the UN member states in a vote in General Assembly and must be ratified by two-thirds of the member states. Second, all of the permanent members of the UNSC, which have veto rights, must also agree. Now, which of the statements given above are correct? You can take a moment and write your answers in the comment section below. So, with respect to UNSC, both of the statements are correct. That is, any reform of UNSC requires agreement of at least two-thirds of member states and also must be ratified by two-thirds of the member states. Secondly, all of the permanent members of the UNSC must also agree to this, and the correct answer is option C, that is both 1 and 2. And with this, we call it a wrap of today's edition of Topic of the Day. I hope you liked the video. I will see you with some other topic tomorrow. Till then, take care and do stay tuned.